Again, Module 5, we're going to be looking at 5 Echo, identify basic facts about radio etiquette. In other words, if you're given a radio, you just can't use it like a cell phone. There are differences between that and a cell phone. So you need to make 70% on the block test, in this case KPC. We're looking at the FSC application. Now, I will tell you right now, if you have never used a radio, you're probably going to be very apprehensive in using it. There is etiquette to use when you are talking on that. So we're going to look at radio etiquette, common sense rules to follow, the 4 golden rules of radio comm, the NATO phonetic alphabet and numbers, and how to say it. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is what in the heck is radio etiquette? Throughout the world, the international language is English. All air traffic controllers need to speak English. I don't know who came up with that, but that's the international rule. Next up, just remember your radio cannot transmit and receive at the same time. It is not a cell phone. I don't make the rules, that's the way it works. Big thing, don't interrupt people while they're talking. Cell phone, you can do that. Radios, you can't. Because if you key up while someone's talking, what you just did is interfered with them, and it's not going to work. People are going to get mad at you for doing that. The only way that you are going to interrupt and no one complain about it is when you have an emergency that takes priority over it. Normally the way it goes is break, break, break. Say it's a gas attack, gas, 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 and so forth and so on, whatever the protocol is for your base on that one. But it always starts with break, break, break. That's telling everybody over the air, oh boy, something's about to happen. That's an emergency. That one is forgivable for interrupting. Do not respond if you are unsure the call is for you. If there is a lot of silence between what you thought you heard, more than likely they're going to call back. If you are unsure about that and you know that there's only 3 or 4 people on the net, then you can call back and say, last calling unit, please identify. There are other etiquettes for that. The idea is give them a chance to go, oh crap, they're not responding. Let me try this again. Big thing, do not transmit sensitive, confidential, financial, or military information. Again, has everything to do with open air. When I say open air, is you're talking on a radio that's not even encrypted, so scanners will be able to pick you up. There are common sense rules to follow. Okay, first time you get a radio, form a radio check. See if it works. Contact somebody that's in the same area as you are. Normally, what happens is when you're issued a radio, you'll turn it on. The other person will turn it on. I've seen this where they'll click, 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 and you can hear it over on the other radio. They'll do click, click, click. Not a good thing because you want to pass information over the airways. You just check 1, 2, make sure that you can hear over their radio and vice versa. Next one, make sure your battery's charged. If it's not charged, it's got the problem, don't you? You'll be out there thinking everything's good to go. You grab your radio, you key up, nothing's working. Make sure your radio's charged. Another thing, your radio has a volume control on it. Please use it. Turning it off doesn't mean that you're exempt from everything that goes out over the radio. They gave you a radio for a reason, to make contact with you. Memorize call signs, location, and personnel in a radio station. Last thing you want to do is call somebody by their name. You need to call them by their call signs. There are designations for it. By knowing where they're at, you can make communications. For example, being in Comm, when I would go out and we'd have partners, Normally, we would have to set up in 2 different sites because we were doing some troubleshooting, and it was easier to go do it over the radio instead of, grabbing that phone and trying to bring the cord with you. This is before cell phones, okay? Radio stations, knowing where your base station is. You know your base station is one area and you're going to be going off the base, make sure that they know about it. All radio comm is by call signs or designations. Think before you speak. That's the big one. I don't know if you're aware of what citizen band radio is. Anybody in here know what CBs are? I think I asked that question.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anybody ever heard of the word ratchet jaw?
Yes, sir.
Ratchet jaw means they get on the radio and they don't let you speak. They're speaking all the time. It's like they have, as one person would say, diarrhea of the mouth. Okay, so think before you speak, get it out there, say what you need to say, and get off. Okay, that's that. What you got to say is concise, precise, and clear. You don't want to get on there and make a long sentence because it's not going to sound right. You're going to have to divide it. Number 10, don't use abbreviations unless understood by others. Obviously, maintenance has a different realm of abbreviations than somebody would be if they were in the ambulance or the fire department. So I wouldn't be able to get on the fire department's net and they say something that I have never heard before. It's not going to make any sense for me. So I'm going to end up having to call and go, what the heck are you talking about? It's going to take up time. So comm is one thing. You got fire department's another, the cops are another, so forth and so on. There are different ways of doing things. You got to abide by what they are going by. Normally, there is a standard rule of thumb throughout the world and how to do it. But when you get to your next base, they may have a twist on it. Clarity, simplicity, brevity, and security. Can't ask for anything clearer than that. Try to speak clear. Try to keep it simple. Be quick about it. Security. Don't be passing anything over the net unless you know for a fact that it is encrypted for that particular purpose. So you don't want to pass secret information over something that is only meant for FOUO. And I think there's 5 different, the last time I looked, there was 5 different levels of security. The first one being none at all. The second one is for FOUO. Then there's the classified, the secret, and the top secret. So there's a lot to it. The FOUO, most of the off-base people that have their radios encrypted, when I say encrypted, it's just the local encryption that the company provides versus what the military gets. Here is the phonetic alphabet, and I'm going to go through them too. We don't pay attention to the Morse code. We're more about what the pronunciation is. So A is Alpha, B is Bravo, C is Charlie, D is Delta, E is Echo, F is Foxtrot, G is Golf, H is Hotel, I is India, J is Juliet, K is Kilo, L is Lima, M is Mike, N is November, O is Oscar, P is in Papa, Q is in Quebec, R is in Romeo, S is in Sierra, T is in Tango, U is in Uniform, V is in Victor, W is Whiskey, X is X-Ray, Y is Yankee, Z is Zulu, and of course you got 1, 2, tree. Yes, tree. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9er, 0. So you see how this is all pronounced? It is the NATO phonetic alphabet. I haven't seen anything change from that. And that's so everybody on our side and the ally side can make sure that we are on the same page. So we've looked at radio etiquette, common sense rules to follow, 4 golden rules of radio comm, NATO, phonetic alphabet, and numbers. Questions? Okay.
I think,
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead. Certainly.
oh, I think I've heard Europeans and stuff use Z instead of Zulu.
Yeah, there's other phonetic alphabets out there too. For example, if you listen to over the air for the local cops, instead of alpha, it's apple. B is in boy. So there's different variations, but to stay on the military side, we use the NATO phonetic alphabet. It is possible that they do use Z for Z. I've not heard it. That's a new one on me. So, depending on where you were at versus where I was at, it could be all different. But as far as our allies and us, that is normally the standard. Normally. There may be some caveats to it. Like, for example, the ally may have ended up going, well, Z is Z. Now, I will tell you the reason why we want to go with the standard. And this happened to me in Minot Air Force, out in the missile field. There are exercise dress words for the phonetic alphabet. I accidentally passed the exercise dress. Believe me when I say this. In November in Minot, North Dakota, it's below 0 with the wind chill. Do not have your parka on and handcuffed up against a metal fence, chain link fence, is not fun. Until they were able to figure out that that was the exercise dress word and it was not an exercise. So that was my mistake and I paid for it. See there? Human like anybody else. And I make mistakes. Don't pass the exercise dress word. That's my benefit to you guys and my experience. Believe me, that was not fun. Any other questions? Such a lovely.
Yes, sir.
All right. Stop.